Hashem Svasai Tivtach Lefi Agitzel Asecha. We're now in the second parak of Tehillim. This parak is actually connected to the first parak. It speaks about the same exact topic, which is that the Risha'im, what's going to happen to them and what happens to the Tzaddikim. What happens to Tzaddikim? Why do bad things sometimes happen to them? And why are the Risha'im seemingly prospering? Well, on a national level is where Parak B's answers, and it answers in the right away. You think that that ultimately the other nations are going to have something good. It's temporary. Lama ragshu goyim leumim yahagu rik. Why do the nations gather together? Why do they plot? It is so futile. It's futile. The goyim are people that are physically in close proximity to each other, and leumim, the people in groupthink that have the same ideas and ideologies. It's futile. The king of the earth stands ready. Uroznim nasodu yachad. The leaders have bonded together. El Hashem el Mashiach. What are they trying to do? They're trying to go against Hashem and the Mashiach of Hashem. They're trying to go against Hashem and that Bnei Israel are the leaders of the world, the chosen one, or Mashiach Hashem. They're trying to go against the actual, when Mashiach comes, they're going to try to fight. And what do? Nantatka et masrasemo. They try to sever their bonds, and v'nishlacha mimenu avosemo, and they cast away their cords, meaning they don't want the bonds of Judy of what Hashem is offering. They don't want religiousness. They don't want the Hashem as the Melech al kol haaretz. They're trying to break away from that. They're not accepting it. It reminds of the midrash that says that in the time of Mashiach, the Bnei Israel are going to be receiving so many good things, and the Goyim are going to say, that's so unfair. Why do they get that? You never offered us the Torah. And Hashem says, okay, if you think so, no problem. And you offer them sukkahs, and they're like, oh my gosh, the sukkah, it's too hot, it's too cold, they don't want to do it. So, and then they really cast it away. They cast it away thinking it just bonds. It's binding them. It's too hard. It just, it's constraining. Well, we know the opposite. We know that through the Torah, we're actually freer. But they don't see it that way. And what they see is that they want to break the bonds. Now, another way to interpret it is they want to break the bonds of the Shvatim. They want to break the bonds of unity of Klal Yisrael because they know that that's a really great way to be successful. But so that's the first part. This is what the Goyim say. This is how they want. Why would they think anything else? And why? Because pasuk Daled, Yosheb Hashemayim Yitzchak, Hashem Yilag Lamo. But Hashem, who dwells in the heaven, he laughs. He's Bashamayim, so he has the military advantage, and he laughs, and he's like, what are you saying? Az Yitaber Alimo Ba'apo B'chavarno Yivalamo. Then he will speak to them with his anger, and he will get all rage. And what is he going to say? Vani nesachti malki al Tzion har kodshi. It's me. I, who is the creator of the world, I created Zion and my holy mountain. I am the one who gave holiness in this world to Mashiach, to Bnei Israel, to Klal Yisrael, to the Torah. Me. And if it's I who do it, it's stronger than you think. You can't break the bonds, right? And now, Asapra el chok Hashem amar elai b'niata ani hayom yaltitecha. And now, says the king, Hashem says, and he told me, you are my child. This day I fathered you, meaning ani hayom yaltitecha. I gave birth to you, and just like a son, by definition, always has to have his father. It's part of the definition of the son. So even when he does something wrong, it's okay because Hashem says, always, Ani hayom yaltaticha, I fathered you, so you're not going anywhere. Sha'al mimeni, ask of me, ve'etna goyim nachlasecha. Just ask me, and I will give you nations for your inheritance. V'achuzasecha apsei aretz, and a state to the ends of the earth. So don't you worry. I'm going to give the nations your inheritance if they come to me. But if not, you are going to crush them with an iron rod, and you will shatter them like pottery. Now it's going to be that if they come in a nice way, then what's going to happen? I will give it to them like a shevet barzel. I will give it to them with a hook, the ro'et son, the shepherd's hook. But if not, then I will crush them, and I will crush them like pottery. So you don't have to worry. Va'ata, and now, malachim, kings, hiskluvi, vasru, shoftei aretz, be warned. Ivdu as Hashem biyira v'gilu ber'ata. Be warned, because Hashem is going to make you, if you just serve Hashem with yira, then you will be joyful, and you will, but if not, then you will not experience. The only way to experience, the king at the end says, is to come to Hashem with yira, and then you will also have simcha. Now we have a difficulty here that's very much what we go through in life. There's fearing Hashem, and then there's happiness from Hashem. And here, the pasuk is the pasuk that's quoted to have an understanding that there needs to be a balance in life. There needs to be ivdu as Hashem biyira, but only v'gilu ber'ada. If you do that, then you can also be joyful. You have to be, there's times in life to be serious, and there's times in life to be joyful, and you have to find that balance. And when you do find the balance, that's the best way to be. And then nislu bar, so then come to Hashem. Bar is like a bar mitzvah, like a son. Penya ya'ani v'tavdu derech. Otherwise, Hashem's going to be angry. Kiv ar kim'ata po. For his, if you lose your way, then he's going to get angry in the moment. But ashrei kol chosebo. But happy is Hashem, who, as long as you find him in the end, it's all okay. Here we have an understanding that Hashem, first of all, this parak ends with Ashrei. There's a full circle. What is the full circle? This is the bracha that David is giving to us. This is the bracha when we end this parak we have to think about. We have to think about the clarity that if we just cling to Hashem, Hashem says, I'll give you clarity. All of your questions that started in last parak with the Ashrei will end with an Ashrei. All of the idea, and how do you get that clarity? Ashrei kol chosebo. Just find Hashem. If you find Hashem, then you will have exactly what you need. And what is that? Ashrei kol chosebo. That means that it doesn't matter what you have in life. You can have wealth, you can have health, you can have gesund, you can have everything good. But unless you have Ashrei kol chosebo, unless you have a menucha of inside of your heart, and appreciating it and being happy about it, it doesn't count. And so the bracha at the end is Ashrei kol chosebo. First of all, we come full circle and we have a clarity of the questions and doubts that we have that are presented. And Hashem says, don't worry, the clarity will be solved. And that is, just like you started with, and you went through the ideas of why do good things happen to bad people? When is the good going to happen to me too? Hashem says, there's the answer, the full circleness. That's number one. The second is that if you want true bracha, and then you have to appreciate what you have. And when does that come? To anyone who clings to Hashem. If you have Hashem in your life, then ultimately you're going to feel the brachas, and you're going to feel the menucha, the comfort of the brachas. It won't just be that you have it and you can't even appreciate it. And finally, the last message is that this parak is a conversation. It's a conversation between the nations, and then Hashem, and then David, and then Hashem, and then a conversation allows there to be hope, because Hashem says, I want to hear your feedback. I do. I want to hear your feedback, but ultimately I'm going to answer you. There's no hester panim, there's no hidden. Hashem is saying, I love you. I want to speak to you. I want to understand what you have to say. And then I want to negate most of what you're going to say. And that's okay too. But Hashem says, that in the beginning, the nations say, Ninkakta es Musar semo. They don't want the Musar. They don't want the bonds. They don't want anything. But at the end, Hashem says, really, you know what the best way to be? The best way is if you accept the Musar. And in that way, you will benefit from life. Hashem said, "Hibasru shavdei like take from the Musar. If you take from the Musar, you're actually going to be free." You know, there is. I remember having a conversation with someone who said, a non-Jew who said, it's so amazing. Wherever I go, there's always restaurants, and there's always good food, and there's always the experience. And while, we have Chabad wherever we go in the world, but there is something definitely freeing to the idea that we have limits, that we have an idea of, because otherwise it can be very overwhelming. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu was saying, try to break those bonds, see what happens, Goyim. You really think that that's really the purpose of life, that life is all about, that you have unlimited possibilities? Try it with a few limits. See how much more wonderful it is, more purposeful it is, more geschmack it is. See what it's like to have a Shabbos in your life where the world stops. And we close the things that you want so much for your children to be able to communicate with them. Try to have a Shabbos meal with them and see how much benefit there is to having that. See how much benefit there is to Hatznei Halachas Milokacha, to keep some things private just for a husband. See how much more wonderful it is to have real purpose, real meaning, real dedication to a cause. The research does suggest that religious people are less depressed. There's definitely something just psychologically more helpful in having limits and HaKadosh Baruch Hu and having a purpose, religiosity in our life. And so Hashem says, nice try. You weren't able to break the shackles during the time of Migdal Bavel. You weren't, all throughout history, all of you people who thought that you could, you weren't able to. My purpose in life is going to be on Torah, on mitzvos, on Bnei Yisrael, on Eretz Yisrael. If you come aboard, wonderful. If not, the answer to why do bad things seemingly happen to good people and good things happen to bad people is it's just temporary. It's not going to end up that way. Hashem says, rest assured, I'm the Melech Malchei Amlachim. Everyone gets their day of judgment, and ultimately, if you cling to Hashem, then Ashrei Kol Chosei Bo.